recorded. Okay. Maybe we could start with introductions again. I know we keep doing this every time, but I do feel like we keep getting a different crew of folks. And I just really want everybody to know who you're hearing from and who is here at the office hours that you can ask questions to or get information from as we do the Q&A session. So just because we started the recording, I'll say again, I'm Mariana Donnelly. I'm at the Department of Mental Health. I coordinate school mental health, so I'm helping to oversee Project Aware under Laurel Omland, who I'll let go next.
Thanks, Mariana. Good morning, everyone. Laurel Omland, Director of the Child, Adolescent, and Family Unit at Department of Mental Health, and technically the project director on this Project Aware with SAMHSA. And I want to introduce Christelle, or have Christelle introduce yourself, sorry.
That's okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Christelle Nickel, and I am the new Project Aware Program Grant Administrator. So I will be working with Mariana and Laurel and everybody else who's in this meeting. So, hi.
So glad to have you, Christelle. Can we do this in groups of people? It just helps my brain. So can we have our AOE folks go next? Maybe Tracy, you start, and then can you pick out your AOE people?
Okay. I'm Tracy Watterson, work at the Agency of Education as the Assistant Director for our Student Support Services Division and the Program Manager for Vermont Multi-Tiered System of Support. And I will be supervising our co-coordinator, Kate Paxton. So we're very excited to announce our co-coordinator, and she's coming to us from the Burlington School District. So she'll start June 24th. So she will be with you at the Best Summer Institute for the work on the Strand. And then I'll pass the microphone over to Nancy.
Hi all, Nancy Helen, VT MTSS coordinator, work with Tracy, and I'll pass it to MJ.
Good morning, everyone. I'm MJ Jared, she, her pronouns, VT MTSS teammate, and I've been in that role for a little over a year now, and glad to be here. So I'll pass it on to Michelle.
Morning, I am also on the VT MTSS team, recent add to the team, and I focus on school climate. And I'm not sure if we have anyone else on our team here.
All right, I think that might be all our AOE people. How about Best? Would you guys like to introduce yourself, Cassandra?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Cassandra Townsend, co-director of the BEST project, and we're providing technical assistance for Project Aware, and I'll pass it along to my co-director, Amy.
Hi, Amy Whaler Sutton, co-director of the BEST project, and I'll pass to Sherry.
Hi, I'm Sherry Schoenberg, and I work with the BEST project, supporting Project Aware, some administrative work, and along with Rebecca Lallier, supporting the Barre District and Washington County Mental Health Services. And I guess I'll pass to Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Lallier with the BEST project, and along with Sherry, supporting the Barre District. And I'll pass to Ken.
I'm Ken Cranberg. I'm on the BEST team at UVM and providing technical assistance on the Aware project to SVSU. And I'll pass to Kim Asom.
Good morning, I'm Kim Asom. I work for the BEST project too. What a coincidence. I'm providing some overall support to Project Aware as well as direct technical assistance to CCSU.
Great, thank you guys.
And that's our whole team. So.
Yeah, that's what I was, thank you for making sure. I don't want to miss anybody. So how about keeping with our partners? Dina, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dina Chase from the Center for Health and Learning, and I use she, her pronouns.
Thanks, Dina. And let's see, what other partners Sorry, I have to scroll through the pages. So I think that's it for our partners today. How about our designated agencies? Who do we have? Noreen?
Good morning, Noreen Shapiro Berry. I'm the School-Based Services Director for Northeast Kingdom Human Services. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm not sure who else is here from other DAs, so I guess I'll just leave it to you, Mariana, to call on the next person.
Awesome. Thanks, Noreen. Do we see any other DA folks?
Yeah, I can introduce myself quickly if you'd like, Mariana.
Yes, please.
First of all, I want to apologize. I'm sick and sound terrible, so my apologies, guys. But my name is Sean McGinnis. I'm the Project Aware Coordinator for Washington County Mental Health Services. I can pass it over if you'd like to some Berry Supervisor Union folks, Mariana.
That sounds great. Thanks, Sean.
Brenda, if you want to go ahead, Brenda.
Sure, I'm Brenda Waterhouse. I'm the principal of Berry City Elementary and Middle School. And I do not know if Karen is on here. She was traveling between buildings. Is Karen Fredericks here? Okay.
Not that I see.
So then I think that's it for Berry.
All right. How about CCSU? Caledonia. Allie, you want to jump in?
I could start us off if you want, Mariana,
Go for
if
it, Des.
Allie is
Thanks.
busy. I'm Des Hertz. I'm the Curriculum Director at Caledonia Central Supervisory Union, which is 7 schools with our hub in Danville, in the Northeast Kingdom. I use she, her pronouns as well.
And Des, will you just introduce Allie for us in case she's with a kid or something and needs to keep her mic off?
Sure will. Allie Monahan is our one of 2 student services co-directors at Caledonia Central Supervisory Union. Allie will be attending BEST as part of our team as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Des. And then how about Southwest? Lindsay, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi there, I'm Lindsay Heller. I'm the SBSU Aware Coordinator, and I'm with Jessa.
Hi, I'm Jessa Ordway. I'm one of 2 district SEL and behavior coaches, so I'll be on the BEST team for SBSU.
And then we have Val as well as Megan on. So guys, if you want to go.
Yep, Valerie Hope. I'm the other SEL behavior coach for the SBSU.
And I'm Megan McEachran. I'm the counselor of Pownell Elementary and one of the co-lead counselors for our district.
Great. Thank you guys so much. I think that is all the squares I see. If I missed anybody or if anyone's on by phone and I'm not seeing you, please interrupt me. But today we have our fantastic TA folks, BEST, coming to talk a little bit about the BEST Summer Institute, what that's going to look like, and how your DCLTs can prepare for the Institute, what sort of data and things to bring, and then some opportunities that they have helped create for this Institute. So I'm going to turn it over to BEST.
Awesome. Thank you, Mariana. Great to see all of you today. I'm so glad that this is being recorded because I know that not all of the team members are here today. So this is really an opportunity for those of you who are here to learn a little bit about the Summer Institute, as Mariana mentioned, and really what to expect. We will also, through our TAs, help plan for the Institute as well. And so we'll, if one of my team members could possibly drop this presentation into the chat, that would be wonderful. I believe it's view only. If not, let me know.
I can do
But
it.
really, thanks, Kim. So what we're going to talk about today, as Mariana mentioned, is really prep for the Summer Institute. So how many of you, show of hands or a virtual hand, how many of you have attended the Summer Institute before? Okay. All right, so we've got some folks. Great. All right, so you can now present the rest. Just kidding. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the overview of the Institute. We're going to talk specifically about the strand that you all will be attending, or your teammates who aren't able to join us will be attending. And then we want to talk a little bit about what materials and items that would be most helpful for you to bring or to have access to during your time at the Summer Institute. And last but not least, we'd love to round off office hours with any Q&A, any questions you may have. We'll have discussion. There are no silly questions out there, because if you have a question, I'm sure multiple people have a similar question. So hopefully this is a real opportunity for us to share collaboratively and learn from each other as well. So the Summer Institute, as you may know, our theme for the Summer Institute this year is a place of belonging, cultivating school communities where strengths are valued, nurtured, and embraced. And can you believe it's coming right around the corner, June 24th? So we're very excited. It's going to be a fabulous event, and so excited that we have a Project Aware specific opportunity for all of you. It is at the Killington Grand. It's an amazing venue if you haven't been to the Killington Grand. Lots of opportunities for outdoor activities as well, and we'll get into that once we talk about sort of the camp list. For those of you who haven't been to the Summer Institute, just to give you a visual, I'm a visual learner. I always like to get a sense of what am I going into? What am I jumping into? So as you'll see, there's lots of team time. That's one of the unique things about the Summer Institute that we hear time and time again that's incredibly valuable, is in the mornings you'll have your content strand time. In the afternoon, you have lots of team time. So it's really a useful design so that you and your teams walk away with an action plan, an implementation plan, your Project Aware implementation plan, ready to go and ready to launch at the start of the school year. We also have fun at the Summer Institute. As you can imagine, people are relaxing by the fire. There's a lot of games and opportunities like that. And of course, if you're into hiking, lots of opportunities for hiking as well. This is just an overview to give you a context of the Summer Institute schedule. It's really packed with a lot of content. However, lots of opportunity, as I mentioned, for team time as well as fun. So we like to say at the Summer Institute, it's an opportunity to work hard and play hard. And we have several schools across the state coming this year. We have about 350-ish folks. May increase that too within the next 2 weeks. So again, you'll be immersed with folks from different schools and different roles throughout the week. One thing that I just wanted to share with you is on Tuesday, and the next slide I'll show a little bit more information about this. We will be having a Project Aware meeting from 2 to 4:30. So that will be in place of the traditional team time. Again, that's an opportunity for collaboration. In the evenings, I cannot talk about the Summer Institute without evening activities. We have yoga, because we need to not only take care of ourselves and our minds and our bodies, right, and our spirit. We also have trivia. So if you are a trivia buff, we have that on Tuesday evening as well. We also have water workout and then karaoke, which is quite the experience. So highly recommend you all engaged in that. And we have lots of opportunities we have some really great keynotes joining us this year as well. And then one unique thing about the Summer Institute is while you have strand time and you'll attend the same strand on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you do have an opportunity to select a standalone workshop on Wednesday morning. So if there's something you're interested in, your team members have already registered for this. But that's another great opportunity to get a sort of a short informational session on a topic that's outside of your specific strand. So save the date. We will be having, as I mentioned, a Project Aware meeting at the Institute on Tuesday, the 25th from 2 to 4:30. We're in the process of thinking about and sending out invites and getting folks on board. The agenda for that, and this is our draft agenda, so it may get tweaked as we're planning this organically and gathering input. From 2 to 4, all of the teams who will be attending the Summer Institute involved in Project Aware will be joining us in person. If there are team members who are not attending the Summer Institute but are part of your team, in the larger sense, we certainly encourage them to join us either in person on that Tuesday. But if they're not able to join us for this meeting on Tuesday, we will also have an option for folks to join remotely. And so shortly, for all of you to be aware of, we'll have an RSVP, a little email that we'll send out so we get a sense of who's able to join us in person. The agenda for the first part of our time together for that Tuesday meeting, we're going to do some welcomes and introductions. We really also, knowing that there are 3 LEAs and 3 DAs involved in this project, we would love for an opportunity for all of you to celebrate your safe and healthy schools goals. You all have done a tremendous amount of work developing those through the CNA and CIP process. And so we'll certainly have an opportunity to celebrate those and share those with each other. We're really hoping as well to connect with our project partners. So have a speed dating opportunity still in development, but really giving you all an opportunity to connect with the project partners, share data, those types of things. Think about your professional learning needs and what opportunities the project partners can afford you during that. Then we also want to talk about sort of put on our future goggles, right? We're still in year 1 of this grant, but thinking about what are the supports available to you throughout the duration of this incredible work. In the after 4 o'clock, what we'd love to do is have the LEA and DA Project Aware coordinators stay for a little bit later with us. And we'd like to specifically talk about your roles and responsibilities as coordinators, as champions of this work. And you all are the glue that will hold this work, the data, the systems, and the practices together. And we also want to give you an opportunity as well to look at sort of a year or 2 at a glance. So putting on those futures, we know it takes time to get things in calendars. So we'll have an opportunity for you to dive into your scheduling, what's available to you, how we can support you as well. Are there any questions before I jump into strand overview? I want to be mindful of all of you. Anything coming up for you, feel free to use the chat or raise your hand. Okay, I'm looking, not seeing. All right, well, I am going to continue, but please do not hesitate to stop me, interrupt me, ask for any clarification as well. So this is the strand that your teams will be attending. This is envisioning an interconnected future, schools, mental health partners, and community members all working together. And we have, if you don't know already, we have a fabulous presenter coming in from Midwest PBIS. Her name is Amy Flamini, and she has such a wonderful background in mental health as well as working in schools. So she brings a lot of real life lived experience in doing this work that is embedded in Project Aware. And so it's a really great opportunity. On our BEST website, you can see her bio if you want to. It's a Summer Institute website. You can check out her bio if that is of interest to you. But she's had a wealth of experience doing exactly what all of you will be doing and are currently embarking on. So the strand overview, this is the strand description. So I'm assuming you all have seen this. I'm not going to go through and read the entire description, but wanted you to have access to it. And I've highlighted some pertinent things that I wanted to share with you so that you have a sense of what to expect during the strand, as well as this will lead into what materials you may need to have access to, or you may want to start thinking about prior to attending the Summer Institute. So what you're going to start off with is really thinking about mental wellness, and here's sort of an overview. Amy will go over an overview of what does it mean to be interconnected? What does that mean? So she'll do a wonderful job of of describing that, How are we collaborating together? We know they're often two very different systems with their different funding, different mechanisms around data and access. And so what does it really mean to be interconnected? You'll also spend time in this strand. You're going to look at your current interventions. So what interventions do you currently have for students? What are your universal? What are your targeted? What are your intensive level interventions? You'll also spend time thinking about common language around the interventions. We know this is so critically important in consistency and understanding. And so you'll spend time doing that. Talk about your language. We do know language matters, right? And if we're trying to communicate, we need to make sure we're consistent in how we're using that language. You're also going to look at assessing your current level of availability for mental health supports for your youth and families and staff members. So really looking at an inventory. What currently do you have? What does the DA provide? What does the LEA currently have in-house, right? You're also going to look at some of those systems and the referral process as well. Finally, you're going to be looking at baseline data. So you've already done a huge amount of work in terms of your specific LEAs, looking at your school level data through the CNA and CIEP process. We'd love for you, and we'll get to this a little bit, thinking about what sort of data is available for your students' mental health and access to mental health supports and those types of things. So you'll be really looking at your data. What data do you have? And then eventually that'll lead to a gap analysis where you and your leadership teams will be able to think about what do we need to move, where are we at right now, and what do we need to move this process forward so that we're doing the best we can to support all within our system and build what we're referring to as this interconnected community across our schools and mental health agencies and community members. So we're really effective and efficient in meeting our students and clients' needs. So that's sort of the big overview of the session. It is in development now. So if there are any things that you're interested in or that would be most helpful, please reach out to your TAs as well, because we can certainly want to make sure we're meeting your needs in this session. What to expect during team time. So as I mentioned earlier, on Tuesday, we will have a meeting, Project Aware meeting. One of the things that we really are excited about is during team time, we just don't want to launch you right into your afternoon and sort of waffle and wonder what you should be doing. We really want this time to be incredibly valuable for you. So after each of your morning sessions, you will continue to work on what was presented in the morning. And this is really critical because we want to differentiate and meet you all where you're at and all of the teams who are attending the Summer Institute. We know that everyone's at different places. And so having a really nice dedicated team time will allow you to sort of pick your own adventure based on what took place in the morning. And so you will be given specific feedback and guidance on what you what is recommended for you to do during the afternoon activities as well. The other thing that you will have available to you at the Summer Institute is your current Project Aware TA, Rebecca, Kim, Sherry, and Ken. They will serve as what is called a resource consultant, which means they will be able to check in with you each afternoon to see how you're doing. What questions do you have for Amy, the presenter? Are there different things that you need so that we're meeting you and what you need? So that's a great connection as well. You've already connected with your TA. So again, how are we fostering this and building that on? So that'll be something that you'll expect during team time. And also, just so you know, everyone also who attends the Summer Institute has a resource consultant. So this is really a strategy and a mechanism for all teams to attend, to have somebody check in, see how they're doing, answer any questions that you may have. So there's a lot of support for you all and your teams during the Institute. Any questions before I jump into the nuts and bolts on what we would highly recommend you think about bringing to the Institute? Let's look. pause. All right. I'll keep, if you have any questions, feel free to jot them down as well. We'll have an opportunity for Q&A shortly.
I have
So-
one comment,
sure. Go,
Cassandra.
Sherry. Yeah.
Just when you introduced Amy Flamini, and I'm really fortunate to know her a little bit. It shows that she's from Midwest PBIS, and you hear a lot about PBIS. This grant is not necessarily focused on PBIS, but there's so much expertise and mental health background that she has. That she, from PBIS and from her own mental health social work. So it's not a PBIS strand. It's really focusing on interconnection between mental health and education. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. Tracy?
I just wanted to also add on, as well as what Sherry said, Amy is familiar with our Vermont contact. She's been working with us for many years. So I like her expertise as well as being familiar with Vermont schools, I think is just exciting. It'll be a great strand to participate in.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Sherry. Yeah, she's a wealth of information, a great resource for sure. We're excited we were able to bring her to Vermont. All right, any other questions, or what questions do you have before we jump into what to bring? Right. Okay. So these are things that we would certainly recommend that you bring copies of or have available if possible, or have access to. So certainly you all will have access to the internet. And so again, if you have, actually that's an important thing, is make sure that your device is able to get on an unfamiliar Wi-Fi. Sometimes there's security, and we do run into that. So, but just make sure that you have access through your security to be able to access any data that you have. So what you'll see here is there's a link here that's called Possible Data Sources. This is more of an exhaustive, extensive list of recommended data resources. And thank you, Amy. Yes, don't forget laptop chargers. That is key. I should have put that in bold. Absolutely. Make sure you bring your chargers, because there's lots of team time, and team time takes place not necessarily in the room. You get to pick your own spot. Some people are outside by the pool doing team time. So make sure those are charged. So one of the things that we recommend, and again, this is a draft, we want you to, this is sort of a guidance document here around what we would recommend you bring. But again, if you're thinking about other items, totally up to you, depending on your safe and healthy schools goal, what you think would be most relevant. This is really about you. But certainly would recommend, in terms of some of the school-based data, you've done a lot with your CNA process. Many of you have had your own internal data inventories, right? You've done a lot of, you have a lot of information that you've already collected, whether you're using SWIS as a referral, behavior observation data referral system, or you have school climate data, you've got attendance data. So there's lots of different things, nurse visit data, right? So there's lots of things you may want to consider having access to. Also thinking about referrals to mental health. So we know that in some of our schools, in many of our schools, while the system is not necessarily consistent, there is some process or procedure for making a referral from a school counselor, a school-based clinician to your designated agency. So if you have information around that, that could certainly be helpful. It would also be helpful for you to have access to your safe and healthy schools goal. All of you have done that as well. So have that readily available, because that is really what you'll be working on and to move this work forward. Additional data you may want to consider bringing are EST information. So how many students are referred, what is the process for getting additional levels of support above and beyond your universal supports? It could be your referrals, number of referrals, what targeted level interventions you may have. You might want to consider Act 264 or Coordinated Services Plan data. So thinking about how many students have access to that as well. Some of the other data that we would recommend is really from the designated agencies, thinking about your CANS data. If you have that, if you're able to share that, if in any form, I think, would be helpful. Any sort of community data that you have, intake data from the schools potentially could be, and then overall, maybe even number of referrals. So Washington County Mental Health, how many referrals are you getting from Berry City, throughout the year? What are they for? Those types of things may be really helpful as you plan collaboratively and build this system, because part of the strand will be to think about your referral process or request for assistance process. You may also want to consider bringing the items that your teams have already spent a lot of time working on or are just in the process of beginning. So your memo of understanding, which all of you hopefully have received that template, which really guides you through sort of what the expectations or what the agreements are between the DA and the LEAs. You may want to start thinking about your initiative inventory. We'll also do some of this work, I believe, at the session, at the strand. So thinking about what initiatives are you doing? How are they aligning? We often say in this work, more globally, work smarter, not harder. We don't want to do duplicative work that's resource heavy and not as efficient. So think about all the things that you're doing in terms of your committees. Also think about your interventions. What are you offering? So there'll be an opportunity to, if you have that information, you might want to have access to that. And then one of the things that your TAs have done for you is we have some access to data. So if you're implementing PBIS, we have access to, if one of your schools, is implementing PBIS, we have access to some of that data already. So we've created and pre-populated a data inventory for each of you. And this is something that the TAs will share with you prior to the Summer Institute, just so you all know what data is in addition to maybe what you've already pulled and culled from the CNA process, but we'll have that available to you as well. I also wanted to share very quickly, it's a lot of fun, the Summer Institute, but it's a lot of work. So please be prepared to bring team snacks, chocolate, whatever your team desires. That's incredibly important. We know that. Again, we want to have fun while we're there, and going with the theme, of using strength. So it's very strengths-based week. I wanted to point out also, if you go to our Summer Institute website, we have something called a camp list. Now, I don't know if you had this when you were younger, but I certainly loved going off to camp and having a list because I like to be prepared. And so what we've done is have given you an opportunity and recommendations for what to bring to the Summer Institute. So some teams actually bring their own LCD projector, right? So if that's feasible for you, go for it. Again, I like to say team snacks. And then one thing to point out on Monday at the Summer Institute, we have something called Ease In Time, which is a really nice activity for us to just think about ourselves, think about our teams, really settle in to this long week of learning. And we do that through Ease In Time activities. So we are going to have an opportunity for you all to self-select what Ease In Time activity you'd like to start your week doing. It could be coloring. We're going to do walk and talk. We're also going to have bullet journaling activities. We have button making and happy jar decorating, fishing, board games. There's also opportunities for yoga as well that morning. But just wanted to give you all a heads up about that, especially if you haven't been to the Summer Institute. And we've been doing Ease In for the past couple of years, and people really enjoy that time to connect and reflect and get ready for the week. So that concludes the more formal presentation around what we would certainly recommend you bring to the Summer Institute. Hopefully the overview will breathe some life into it for all of you, so you have a sense of what you're getting yourself into, which I'm so excited to see many of you there, but would certainly love to open it up for any questions, comments, wonderings. Now's a great time.
Couple hands are up,
To
Cassandra.
do that. All right. If it's okay, so I can see everyone, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right. So we've got some hands. Okay, let's see. Amy, it looks like your hand is up first. Amy Bueller.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the last slide, one of the items just got bumped down and wasn't showing, which is to bring your local professional development calendars for 2024, 2025, as you're thinking about planning for next year. You know, what district professional development days do you have? What might be available to people in terms of training opportunity, or, you know, training availability and like that.
Thank you, Amy. Absolutely. We know how important it is to get meetings on the calendar immediately and early on, right? So thank you for that. It looks like Tracy Watterson.
Thank you. I was just popping this in the chat. I'm wondering if LEAs would value having a collation of their Vermont MTSS survey data, which is being collected as we speak. And if so, if you'd contact Caitlin Chisholm, who's one of our teammates, she can provide that to you. I would ask that you give her at least a week's heads up, particularly if all 3 LEAs are going to want that data. We're in the process right now of collecting any that are late being turned in, but we're working on it. So we can let you know who we have and do not have that information from. I included a link to the questions in case you're not familiar with the survey, but it's probably about 30 questions. It talks a lot about your system. So looking at your Vermont MTSS framework, but there are also specific questions in there regarding mental health. So anyway, check it out and let us know if that's data you'd like to have before you go to the Summer Institute.
That's great. Thanks, Tracy. What other questions do you have? Or wonderings or ideas or thoughts?
And for the people that just joined, this session was recorded. So hopefully Mariana will be able to get you Kim's saying the same exact thing. Get you a copy of the recording.
Yeah, and I'm wondering for folks who just joined, if they're able to see the chat previously, maybe we should drop the slides. I was going to send out an email with the slides attached to it, but just in case folks needed it, I'll just put it in again, just in case.
Thank you, Mariana.
And feel free, folks, to ask. Sorry, go ahead, Des.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm curious about a template, and this may be something that you've shared and I have misfiled in my brain, a template and or examples of work plans that other SUs and districts have created with their DAs, so that you know, as a launch point for the work that we'll be endeavoring.
Des, absolutely. We just drafted a template for the implementation plan. It's not final yet, but it's in the works. And thinking we're trying to make it really user friendly for all of you, so that it's helpful and useful. And so we have started that, and we'll certainly have that available as soon as possible. Anything else to add? Team members, did I miss anything? Sherry?
Well, also, the last iteration of Project Aware was during COVID. And so a lot of sort of the framework documents are not as robust as other parts of the country. And Amy's worked in other parts of the country, the Strand leader. So we'll make sure that she brings examples from other places that would be helpful for you.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that, Sherry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say in the previous iteration that we also focused on schools rather than the SU level. So it was a little, there was a lot of learning to be done there. And so it is a little bit of a shift this time in working at the SU level. So some of those don't exist in the same way. Sorry, Kim, go for it.
No, I should raise my hand. I apologize. But I just think as to the MOU that you've all agreed upon is a good starting point just to, as you're starting to conceptualize some of the work for BEST. I know you won't be there yourself, Des, but I think that template is being used in what Cassandra and Sherry are building as well. So
Thank you. I'm at UVM. Can you hear the F-35s over me? Oh, good. I'm so sorry. It's very loud. The windows are rattling. What other questions do you have? Or any suggestions? What do you need? What would be most helpful to you all at this point?
My suggestion is that people plan to take Friday off because you will be exhausted.
I think too, it's worth, maybe you said this before, Cassandra, but it's just worth pointing out that many times teams that couldn't get everybody there in person also will sometimes have links that they create so that during that team time, they can bring in extra folks who aren't able to come in person and be part of the work that's happening. It's pretty common practice.
Mariana, I really
Absolutely.
appreciate that point because I think also that all of the folks that are coming, first of all, it's not representative of what ultimately the whole DCLT might be. And as we know, there's some transition in administration in all of the participating SUs. So having sort of that portability of tools and information can be really, really useful as you orient new members to the process.
Yeah. One thing I would add as well, I know many of you, your teams are already registered, but if there are other folks, you still have time to register. So if you have any questions around registration, please let us know. We are holding spots and have room. So really would encourage a nice balance between LEA and DA participation as you all are working together on this journey. So if there's anything we can do to support you, or if there are any questions that you all have, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, what other questions or thoughts?
And if folks
or
have
meetings?
questions about, we can talk about BEST, but also in the Summer Institute, but also any questions you might have about AWARE. There's lots of folks here with lots of varying degrees of information and talents that can help navigate some of this stuff. Karen.
I just wondered if any school districts had their Project Aware coordinator had them contributing to like Visters as a year-round employee or not. Just trying to take a straw poll.
We are.
Okay.
Hi, Karen. CCSU.
Hi,
yes.
Contributing to what was that, Karen? My computer clicked out.
To retirement benefits, teacher retirement. But it is a year-round, Des, for you? Yeah.
It is, yeah. And I could look into that more with our assistant business manager if you have more questions, Karen.
Okay, I think that's good for now.
I love that, Karen. This is definitely a time to ask questions of each other too. You're all in similar boats there.
And Rebecca just dropped a question. So how are y'all feeling? You ready? Nervous? Overwhelmed? Unsure? All feelings are valid. Last week of school for most of you, I imagine, or you're busy, so.
I'm just I want to wonder out loud about some of the people on the teams are not as specifically tied to Project Aware. And I wonder if there's any thinking about that. I don't really have a question. I think the content of the strand, I feel pretty confident that whoever participates on your teams will really benefit from the content of the strand. And that some of your planning, if you don't have some of the leadership folks there, might need to be a plan to plan. And that's okay too. But if there's any way you can get some of the decision maker types to join your teams during team time, either virtually or to come down and visit, I think that would just strengthen any kind of plan that you'll walk out of the Institute with. Some wanderings of mine.
It's a good point, Sherry. It's the leadership in the DCLT. We definitely need all parties represented in this work for sure.
And I just want to allay the fears of anyone from Barry is that we are aware that it's mostly a school team that will be joining the strand, and there's a way to differentiate around school and district as well. So you're kind of straddling both the school and the district in that community.
My other question for folks while people are thinking is we are scheduled to have another office hours next week, but I'm wondering if that is the end of school for many, or is this the end of school week for folks? In my area, the next week is the end, and I don't want to ask. We want to be helpful and supportive in this process. We don't want to be pulling you away from times that you need. And then the following week after that would be the BEST Institute. So I'm just curious if folks have feel like that time would, if there's things that we could provide you in that time that would be helpful, or if giving you that time back is more helpful. That is next Tuesday, the 18th, I believe.
Mariana, if it helps, I mean, I've built in the time for office hours, so I'm prepared to attend, but I also meet with our TA weekly, so he brings a lot of what we have to ask back to you guys. So I can take it or I can leave it. It really makes no difference. If you're bringing something specific, it's always nice to have the additional information, but.
And we don't have anything specifically scheduled for next week at this point, like that, no particular content. So if there are thoughts about things you need before BEST or in that last week, we're open to it. Kim, jump on in.
Thanks, Mariana. I just wonder, just keep it open without a specific topic. And, you know, if people don't show up in the first 15 minutes, then but it is, I think, an opportunity for people that might have last minute questions about BEST or preparation or team members or anything, to get them answered from a group of people, a diverse group of people like us that might be able to answer those questions. Those are my thoughts.
I like that line of thinking, Kim. I think that would be nice. Then it's available for folks if they need it, and it can be sort of challenge by choice. Come in if you need some support, and if you're too overwhelmed and there's a lot going on, there's no expectation of you.
It's like the grad school professor rule, right? If the grad school professor didn't show up in 15 minutes, you got to leave class. So
Okay, well, I don't see any other questions popping up. And I think unless anyone has any other ideas, I feel like, Kim, that was a great plan, that we just open up the office hours next week with no specific agenda, just to answer questions you may have as they're rolling in, or just an opportunity to provide a little support if you need it. And if you don't, that is fine. And if you're unable to attend at that time, you also have your brilliant TAs available to you, and you can reach out to the state team at any time and ask questions. Great. Thank you so much, Best, for putting that together and helping folks understand what the week's going to look like and what to expect. And thank you all for carving out some time to come. And I will send out the slides to everybody, just so you have it in your email. And please feel free to reach out if anyone needs anything.
Thank you,
Great.
everyone.
Happy end of the year.
Great to see you all. Bye.